Hi, this is a quick video to help you draw Lewis structures in Connect. This is part of the Chapter 9 extra credit homework. It's optional, but the way it works is that it will replace your lowest Connect homework grade if it is indeed higher than any of your lower ones. So the questions are fairly straightforward. I would suggest doing this. There's no way it can hurt your grade, and it'll be good practice for the exam. So definitely recommend giving it a try. The only kind of technically challenging thing is drawing the Lewis structures in Connect, so this video will help you do that. And really that only applies to numbers 4 and 5 on this homework. So number 5 I have up here, and there's 4 incorrect Lewis structures, and you'll need to draw the correct one. Once you're only shown one at a time, this is part 1 of 4, so once you get the correct one for this, you can move on to the next one. So you have a Lewis structure, all the atoms are in the right places, it's just that the bonds or the unshared pairs are incorrect. And if we looked at this Lewis structure here, hydrocyanic acid, total number of valence electrons should be 1 for carbon, 4 for carbon, and then 5 more for nitrogen, so it should have 10 total. But as it is drawn, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I've drawn too many electrons in this example. And what do we do in that case? Well, we tell any atoms that are bonded to each other that each have their own unshared pair, like that carbon and that nitrogen right there, that they need to share those electrons. So rather than each having their own unshared pairs, we will add a pair of electrons to the bond between them, and that double bond becomes a triple bond. So let's go ahead and draw that. I open that palette to draw the structure, and this is what I see. Whole lot of buttons here, only a couple important ones. And the important ones are the A, which allows you to add text, and that's how you add atoms. The bonds down here, a single, a double, and a triple, and as you hover over those buttons, it tells you what they are. And then these 2 dots here, those are an unshared pair of electrons, also called a lone pair. So when I have any of those buttons pressed, I can add those functionalities onto my structure. Other things that might be useful, that's an eraser right there, and the zoom in button is actually kind of useful, so I'll show you about each of those things. So yeah, first of all, let's go ahead and add our central atom. Let's add the carbon. So I had the A selected. It gives me this box right here, and then I just type in a C. And to exit out of that, I can press escape or click on another tool. So I just pressed escape right there. Now let's go ahead and add some bonds onto this atom. We can maybe first add on the triple bond to the nitrogen. So the important thing, I've got my triple bond tool selected. I want to wait before I start adding it in. I want to make sure it's connected to the carbon. So to do that, I want to have the carbon highlighted with that blue color. So I'm going to click on that and then just extend my cursor out to the right, and that makes a triple bond right there. It also kind of by default adds in another hydrogen, which we don't really want. We want to just add that independently. So I'll fix that after I put in the nitrogen. So yeah, next thing, let's go ahead and add that nitrogen. I click on the A tool again. And again, I want to make sure I'm hovering over the exact spot where it should go, and that turns blue when I do that. So then I click on it, type in an N for nitrogen, and I can press escape to get out of that. And if you put in your lone pair, your unshared pair of electrons, and then hit submit, this will give you an error because you haven't added that hydrogen by itself. So with the A tool selected, if I hover over that, and actually it kind of helps if you zoom in on it a little bit, so I'm just pressing that zoom tool. I'm going to click in there and delete that hydrogen that got automatically added. So backspace and escape. And it added that because it kind of wants to fill up the carbon's valence. That's that message that's there, but we want to do that by ourselves. So next thing, let's add a single bond to the carbon and put in that last hydrogen. I'll start where it's blue, go out to the left, and that adds in that bond. Go back to my A tool, go to where it turns blue, click, and type in my H for hydrogen, and escape. So now I've got my molecule. The only thing I haven't shown yet are my unshared pairs of electrons, and the only between the carbon and the nitrogen, each of these elements needs an octet. Carbon already has its octet, nitrogen does not. So we're going to add a lone pair of electrons. And again, like in the other cases, we want to add these where that blue highlight is. So you don't actually want to put your cursor where they're going to end up, or else it won't attach it to that atom. The program needs to know which atom those unshared pairs of electrons belong to. So I just click right in the middle of the nitrogen and it'll add them off to the side, and then I should be all set. So save and exit. And there's my structure that I just made. Now if I clicked next, it'll give me a new one, and if I scroll up, I see that nice green check mark there saying that I've done that correctly. So you can play around with it. That's one way to correctly draw in your molecules. There's kind of some other, different techniques you can use, but that's one way that works, so I would recommend it.